And now for the red wine of the year, the Real Review Red Wine of the Year for 2025. The finalists, we were looking for some wines which had great qualities, but also reasonable affordability. So of course in red wine, the prices are going through the roof these days. We wanted to keep it reasonably affordable and reasonably available. It's not going to be a wine that you really cannot buy because there's so little produced and it's so expensive. So the wines we've got, I think, represent the best in their categories. There's a Cabernet Shiraz, a Pinot Noir, and a Cabernet Bordeaux style blend. And the finalists this year are the 2022 By Far Côte Vineyard Pinot Noir, the 2022 Yeringberg, which is their Cabernet based blend, and the 2019 Yalumba, the Kaylee, which is their flagship red wine. It's a Cabernet Shiraz, Coonawarra Barossa, just a classic representation of the classic Aussie blend of Cabernet and Shiraz, and possibly the best yet under that line from Yalumba, which has been going for about 6 or 7 years now. And now let's hear from the finalists themselves.
My name's Chris Reek, the vineyard manager here at By Far Wines.
I'm Nick Farr, winemaker at By Far. The wine that we're focusing on today is the RP Pinot 2022, which has become a bit of an iconic wine for the wine ring, where we've evolved and accelerated what we've learned from previous decades to then adapting, looking at trellising methods, looking at vine density, soil types and rootstocks to try and improve what we already knew of what the Bannockburn region could produce, but hopefully finding something that's even more sophisticated than what we've seen in the past.
Everyone here at By Far Wines, it's one in all in. There's no actual titles here at the workplace. Everyone is within the vineyard, planting vines, pruning vines, everything else right through to the process of harvest into the winery and helping out with the wine making as well.
We've always wanted to create a vigneron, and we don't just need one or two. We want everyone to be well and truly over the process from start to finish of wines like the RP. For those that subscribe to Real Review and love to read Huon's words on wines, for me it's less about the point score and more about what he actually has to say about a wine, is how I decipher whether or not it's the wine for me to drink.
My brother David and I, the fourth generation of the Dupury family, living, farming and making wine here. My winemaking philosophy is to make beautiful wines that go well with food and that can be cellared confidently for at least 10 years. Every vintage is a chance to challenge myself to make wines that are just a bit better than the year before. The Yeringberg, it's unique because it's a vineyard blend, not a winemaker blend. That means that the grapes we pick from that single vineyard each year, that makes the wine. I don't do blend-in trials and think, oh, I'll have 5% more Merlot or 3% more Cabernet. That's all determined by the grapevines themselves. The 2022 vintage had perfect climatic conditions for ripening the Cabernet family of grapes. The resulting wine is elegant and powerful, yet supremely well balanced. I would recommend opening this wine and decanting it a couple of hours before you plan to drink it. The wine will be much more expressive if it's had a little bit of a chance to breathe. The Yeringberg red wine is more than a sum of its parts. It's a wine to cellar and bring out for special occasions. It feels very special to have made a wine that is recognised as one of the top red wines in Australia. We are all very proud of that.
My name is Louisa Rose. I'm a winemaker here at Yalumba. At Yalumba, we make wines that represent the place where they come from. And in the case of the Kaylee, it's Coonawarra and it's Barossa, two of the great red wine regions of South Australia. The 2019 Kaylee is a great example of how those two regions work together into making one harmonious wine. The Kaylee is named after Fred Cayley Smith, who was one of the third generations of the family, and Fred is remembered really fondly, so much so that the Kaylee has been named after him. The 2019 vintage was a fantastic vintage in both Coonawarra and Barossa. You can be assured with a wine like the Kaylee that we only release these in the years that we think are the really special vintages. And so this wine, delicious now as a nearly 6-year-old wine, but also this is a wine that you could cellar for 10, 20, 30, many decades if in fact that is how you like these wines. The Kaylee is a wine that you could buy and you could enjoy pretty much with all sorts of different foods. It is a wine that has beautiful perfume and beautiful aromatics and elegance, as well as being a full-bodied style. It's a lovely way to sort of finish off an evening with a little bit of conversation and philosophy around the table, or perhaps around an open fire in winter. The recognition of the Kaylee by the Real Review this year is a really important recognition for us. It's lovely to have that confirmation from a third party that this is one of these great Australian red wine blends. But the history, I think, is also a really important part of this recognition. You know, we've known for decades as many wineries over the years, including Yalumba, have made this really special blend. It's recognition, it's confirmation that this is really just a delicious wine.